king, a murderer, and a real motherfucker. Sorry, but he really was, in the truest sense of the word. But Oedipus is more than the inspiration for the most popular genre in porn. Oedipus is the protagonist of maybe the greatest tragedy of Greek mythology, and it all started with a prophecy. And sorry, I gotta say, anybody remember that scene from Vikings where Ragnar talks about how prophecies only come true once they're spoken because people try to escape them so badly?
The riddles you speak, they have no real meaning. Your words can be interpreted in so many ways that they cease to cause comfort or knowledge, but rather confusion. Your so-called prophecies are dangerous. Like telling Lagatha that she would never have another child, yet she got pregnant. But then, because of your words, she put her unborn baby in danger. So you presented her a destiny, and she manifested it.
Man, that was some real shit that Ragnar said there, and it would be absolutely true for Oedipus, but you'll see in the video. In Greek mythology, all prophecies are woven by the fates. Not metaphorically woven, they literally sit there with threads and scissors and weave and cut the threads of fate of each being into a huge tapestry of fate, giving everything a prophecy at birth. And Oedipus' prophecy was, you are fated to couple with your mother and you will kill your father.
Nice, very nice. Thanks.
That father was Laios, the king of Thebes. And you should know that as far as prophecies go, a son killing his powerful father was by far, the most popular one in all of Greece. Every other Greek fortune cookie had that. I mean, Zeus had it, that he would kill his father, Zeus's father before him, and his grandfather before that. In Greek mythology, it was true that in having a son, man creates his greatest rival for the love of his wife. It's just that in the case of Oedipus, that was very literal. So what did the king and queen of Thebes, Laios and Jocasta, do to avoid that prophecy? Well, what would you do? Exactly, abandon the baby in the forest to die right after it was born. Not kill it, nah, but give it a fighting chance against the wildlife like Rambo. To be honest, that has always been weird to me, because if you really want to avoid the prophecy, isn't it better to just... But here young Oedipus was, an infant in some forest in the mountains near Corinth, where a servant had left the baby behind on the king's and queen's orders, and rumor had it that he even drove a nail through the baby's feet, tied a string to it, and hung it upside down on a tree, because baby Rambo needed a little challenge, apparently. Luckily though, a shepherd who roamed these forests frequently found the baby, saved it, nursed it back to health, named it Oedipus, which translates to swollen foot, accurate naming courtesy of the nail through the feet, and then the shepherd brought the baby to the kingdom of Corinth, brought it in front of the king and queen, who he knew were trying to receive a child, but either the king was shooting blanks or the queen's oven wasn't baking properly because nothing was working. So fate just happened to spring them a freshly newborn baby today. They adopted Oedipus and decided not to tell him that he was adopted, and raised him as their own flesh and blood, not knowing that Oedipus came with a serious disclaimer for his own flesh and blood. But the people in the city knew that the king and queen weren't able to receive, so eventually they started spreading rumors that Oedipus was adopted, and since his parents kept giving him the same answer of how he is their one true son and everybody else is just jealous and lying, Oedipus sought out Greek mythology's version of ChatGPT, the Oracle. He wanted the truth and asked the Oracle, are the mother and father who are raising me really my biological parents? I don't know, but I know you're gonna kill your dad and bone your mom. What? Yeah, the Oracle completely ignored his question and told him the prophecy he never asked or heard about, but once something like that is heard, it is not easily unheard. And obviously Oedipus was a little bit disturbed, but mind you, To him, this also confirmed that the king and queen of Corinth were truly his biological parents, and he wished them no harm, so he decided to leave Corinth to keep mom and dad safe from his metal sword and his flesh sword. Oedipus hit the road and took to living life day by day, seeking adventure like so many young heroes do in Greek mythology. And I think I actually did a video on most of these Greek heroes, also a bunch of videos on Norse mythology and history, and sometimes on how history and mythology influence anime or popular movies. And I'm taking this time to say this because this video doesn't have a sponsor, so I'm sponsoring myself. Usually sponsors are the main way in which a channel stays alive, but another way I can keep doing what I do on Briefed is thanks to all the members here on YouTube and on Patreon. So I just want to let you know that if you want to support this channel and help me keep making these videos, you can do that by joining as a YouTube or Patreon member. Both links are below and both get the same perks: a weekly 1-hour stream where we just chat and have fun, and you get all my scripts, and you can download all the artwork I use in my videos, which, full disclosure, I create the art with the help of AI. Members are they're like the producers of these videos, and without them, Briefed would not exist. So massive thank you to everybody who already joined and all who are considering. Please do know that it really is you all who enable me to keep talking about young Oedipus seeking adventure. And actually, just a couple of days after he left the oracle, adventure found him. Oedipus was walking a particularly narrow path, and this rich guy on a wagon, flanked by his personal guard, crossed Oedipus, and they just pushed him out of the way to make room for the wagon and its rich passenger. Oedipus, though, was still kind of in his feelings about the prophecy and leaving his family, and not one to be pushed around, so he decided to absolutely escalate the situation by killing every single guard and the rich passenger except for one who got away to tell the tale of a new badass in town. And then Oedipus felt pretty good about himself, having taught these people a lesson in manners they will never forget. What? They're dead. They're dead, so they would have forgotten the lesson, but whatever, lesson learned. He felt good about himself and continued his journey, not sparing another thought for the now dead, disrespectful rich man and his entourage, meaning Oedipus never found out that the dead, disrespectful rich man's name was Laios.
Right, yeah. Course.
Yeah, see, I just know that half of you already forgot that name. So, Laios, that's the name of Oedipus's biological father. You know, king of Thebes, the one who abandoned him. That's Laios. Oedipus had just killed his dad without knowing, and thus he had fulfilled the first part of the prophecy. Pretty anticlimactic, actually, if you ask me, but hey, the best part is still ahead. So after that bit of casual murder, Oedipus was feeling pretty heroic, because don't forget, this is Greek mythology where all heroes prove their worth by killing humans before they move on to killing monsters. And it just so happened that Oedipus had heard of a particular monster that needed killing because it was laying siege to Thebes. The Sphinx, a bloodthirsty beast with the body of a lion, the wings of an eagle, and the head and boobs of a woman. I know, right? The Sphinx was laying siege to the city by occupying its gates, and everyone who entered or left the city was only allowed to live if they could solve the Sphinx's riddle. But you know, Thebes was also known as the city of 7 gates, literally named for its 7 gates, so they could have just entered and left through any of the other 6 gates. But hey, we don't question plot holes in Greek mythology. So, since no one could solve the Sphinx's riddle, everybody died, until no one left or entered the city anymore. So obviously this Sphinx getting her riddler on was a problem, and that's why King Laios had been on the road in the first place. He was smart enough to use one of the other 6 gates and was traveling to seek out Greek mythology's version of ChatGPT for himself, the oracle, the very same one Oedipus had talked to. The king wanted to use the oracle's infinite wisdom to learn how to solve the Sphinx's riddle, but then he got murdered by his son in a road rage incident. So it goes. Anyway, Oedipus is now in Sphinx-occupied Thebes, where everybody was kinda bummed out because word had it that some traveler on the road had killed their beloved king, and Oedipus was like, yeah, damn, travelers, tell me about it. So rude these days. Just on my way here, I ran into some rich traveler and shit. So he decided to keep that a secret, but still he felt a little bit guilty about possibly having been the killer of their king. So he decided to solve the riddle of the Sphinx and save the lives of everybody else. Bravely, Oedipus confronted the beast, which told him its riddle. And actually, feel free to solve it for yourself. I mean, give it a shot. Pause the video if you need to. Here's the riddle. What walks on 4 feet in the morning, 2 in the afternoon, and 3 at night? Oedipus answered the question as follows. Man. As an infant, he crawls on all 4s. As an adult, he walks on 2 legs. And in old age, he uses a walking stick. I feel like there's a immature joke in here somewhere. And he was right, but unfortunately the Sphinx's entire self-esteem hinged on that one riddle. So once someone solved it, the Sphinx jumped off of a cliff to kill herself. A bit dramatic, but so is killing people because they can't solve one riddle. So I guess the Sphinx died as it lived. And with that, Oedipus had saved Thebes. Then he decided to pay a visit to the queen of Thebes, Jocasta, because the least he could do was pay his respects and show sympathy to the mourning widow. Show sympathy to the widow. So when Oedipus met the queen, it was revealed to him that since he had bested the Sphinx, he now had the right to marry her, because that makes absolute sense. So they got married, and Oedipus got his literal MILF hunter on and had 4 children with his mother and now wife Jocasta. And thus, at 4 kids, I mean, man, he had thoroughly completed the prophecy. He killed his father unknowingly and slept with his mother unknowingly. And the 4 incest seeds turned out to be, well, as messed up as you'd expect children born from a son impregnating his mom to be. They were 2 daughters named Ismene and Antigone, and 2 sons, Eteocles and Polynices. And once they were adults, Antigone ended up committing suicide. Eteocles and Polynices started a civil war against each other over the throne, and Ismene was okay. The incest didn't hit her that hard. She was the youngest, so I guess by then all the bad incest jizz was used up. I don't know, I'm not a scientist, but I guess that's how it works, right? But to be honest, it wasn't just the incest that cursed these children. They were actually cursed, because their grandfather, king of Thebes, Laios, he had a bit of a complicated backstory. The prophecy about his father killing and mother beeping son wasn't the only one he got. See, before he was king of Thebes, young Laios was exiled from Thebes due to his older brother's greed, and another kingdom's kind king by the name of Elis took Laios in out of pity to raise him as one of his own. And once Laios grew a little older, he raped that king's young son. What the fuck? It's not the rape that the gods had a problem with, though. They don't really mind that. That's literally all they do every day, twice on Sunday. But they're really big on the rules of hospitality. And raping the son of your host, not the best guest behavior. So they cursed / gave Laios a negative prophecy of doom for him and his future offspring. Meaning, since his own son Oedipus had already killed Laios thanks to the other curse, the original curse now extended to Oedipus's incest family, which is why his and Jocasta's children were all cursed squared on top of being inbred. Man, they never stood a chance at a normal life.
I like when we touch hair.
And Oedipus and his wife / mom didn't exactly get to live a normal life either. At some point, a plague hit their city of Thebes and people were dying left and right. And once again, the people turned to their chat GPT and they asked the oracle what they have to do to stop this plague. And the oracle told them that to end this plague, they must find the murderer of the late King Laios and punish him. And once that prophecy was revealed, it gained traction, and the whole city heard about how finding this truth shall save them. And Oedipus still didn't really know who that traveler he killed way back then was. In fact, he probably had forgotten all about that by now. So he summoned the blind prophet Tiresias to court, who you might remember from my Athena video. He's the guy that saw Athena bathe naked by accident, so she made him blind, felt guilty about it, and gave him powers of prophecy. So aside from the physical world, Tiresias, he saw everything, past and present, but he refused to help Oedipus and told the king that he won't like the answer he is seeking. Historically speaking, though, kings don't tend to be so understanding when someone tells them what they can or can't do, so Oedipus forced it out of Tiresias, who just shook his head and said, "You really never put two and two together about that traveler you killed on the way to a city who was mourning their king that had just been killed while traveling?" What do you mean? Not the brightest bulb in Thebes, are you? I can't believe you solved the Sphinx's riddle but can't figure out this shit. So Tiresias told Oedipus that he killed the former king of Thebes. And Tiresias continued by telling Oedipus that he actually did more than that, saying, "Blind, who once had seeing eyes, beggared, who once had riches in strange guise, his staff groping before him, he shall crawl over unknown earth, and voices around him call, Behold, the brother father of his own children, the seed, the sower and the sown, shame to his mother's blood and to his sire, son, murderer, incest worker." And Oedipus was like, "Hey, I don't know what any of that means. Literally crazy talk. I think you just want to kill me and take my throne." And the man was like, "What, bro? You invited me? I didn't even want to tell you in the first place. Nah, you want my throne, and you're a pervert anyway. Athena was right to blind you. Bye-bye, ciao, see you again, never." So Oedipus completely dismissed the prophecy as crazy talk, but still, why was the guy calling him son, murderer, and incest worker in that unnecessarily complicated poem? It kept nagging at Oedipus, kept him up at night, and reminded him of that prophecy the oracle once foretold him when he was young. Oedipus couldn't find sleep at night, for he kept thinking about, what if it's true? What if he killed his father? What if he, So he asked his wife, Jocasta, and she told him, "Oh yeah, there was this prophecy that my son would kill my husband and also bone me, but don't worry. We killed the baby and had it hung upside down on a tree, hanging by a nail that was hammered through its feet." Wait, what? Rewind that part for me? Yeah, I know. Disturbing, right? Mother and son. Ew, I know, right? Disgusting. But anyway, the baby's dead. And even if not, my son now would have to be like way younger than me and come from a foreign country because we totally exiled him in a forest near Corinth. And he wouldn't even be allowed here because it would mean he killed my husband, the king, while he was traveling. So, wait a minute. What? You from Corinth? Yeah. You killed a traveler on your way here? Yeah. You have a weird scar on your feet? Yeah, I do. And you're way younger than me. Yeah, but hey, I got the same prophecy as a kid. They say Zeus had that prophecy also, and Kronos too. I know, right? It's like you open a fortune cookie and it's, "Hey, look, you're gonna kill your dad." Ooh. Exactly, it's so unoriginal. And my parents are in Corinth anyway, right? Remember, my biological parents are the king and queen of Corinth. I'm a prince, not some baby that a shepherd found in a forest and brought to some couple that pretended they didn't adopt him. And hey, my dad and I totally have the same hair color too, by the way. So, I'm obviously his kid. So yeah, Oedipus and his wife were literally that level of stupid. But hey, they weren't wrong about everybody having that prophecy about killing their dad, and Oedipus truly thought that the king and queen of Corinth were his biological parents, so I guess we can cut Team Incest some slack here. They dismissed the whole thing until one day a messenger came to find Oedipus in Thebes, a messenger with urgent news from Corinth. Prince Oedipus, or King of Thebes, Oedipus, I don't know what you go by these days, it's complicated. Anyway, hey, the king of Corinth died, man. What? My father died? Yeah, bummer, sorry. But hey, on the bright side, it turns out he lied to you all your life and wasn't really your biological father. High five. So this got Oedipus thinking again. Was his father lying to him? Had he been lying to him? Was he adopted? And if he was, does that mean... Oedipus had to find out the truth, and so he traveled all the way to the forest near Corinth, where Jocasta said her baby had been left to die. Oedipus traveled there hoping to find some clues, and eventually he found the very shepherd who had once saved young Oedipus from certain death. The now old shepherd was happy to see Oedipus again and confirmed that yes, he found Oedipus in this forest, hanging by a tree by a nail driven through his feet, which is why he named him Oedipus after his swollen feet, before he brought him to the king and queen of Corinth, who were unable to conceive children of their own. And that was the final piece of proof Oedipus needed for even him to realize that yes, he killed his dad and boned his mom. And with the truth finally revealed and the prophecy fulfilled, Jocasta killed herself and Oedipus ripped his own eyes out, went into exile, and died. The end.